What is your thought on the notion of the NBA going to some sort of coaches challenge system?
Just got a chance to talk to Kiki a couple of days ago, as a matter of fact, and I heard Bomani and Pablo just talk about it. I'll just say it in a word: terrible. This would not be a good idea. Here's why. Because regardless of the score of the game and or the situation, coaches can be spiteful. Have you ever watched a basketball game and coach got upset? He disagreed with the official? Well, that happens all of the time. And you know what's going to happen all of the time? There are going to be coaches challenging plays just to spite the officials, just to slow the game down. It doesn't help the entertainment experience. The replay scenario already takes too long. How about this? There are 3 officials on the floor. How about making sure that they're the best of the best and they actually get the call right real time? Then we don't have to come up with all of these gimmicks.
I completely disagree. The game is happening so fast. The athletes are so different and so phenomenal, so dynamic. It's hard. There's always going to be human error. We saw that last night. I think it's okay to give, if it's one challenge flag, to allow, regardless of whether there's spite or not. That's how relationships work. We see that in the NFL. Make there be different consequences for that challenge flag if you're wrong, but still to allow that to play into it.
Yeah.
I love that for the drama of the game.
Sorry, I'm with Jalen on this one, and this is why. Because there's certain sports where you can challenge. So in tennis, yes, let's challenge. Is the ball in or is it out? That's simple. We can actually see that. Volleyball, same thing. Was there a touch? Was it not? Is it in or out? Football, same. Did your foot drag in? Was it in? But if you're talking about fouls and slowing it down and trying to figure out, okay, did you get in position before they started their upward motion and we slowed it down and I don't know, like it's too much. Now there's too many areas of gray to consider challenging, and it's going to take too much away from the game to try and get to.
Well, then don't replay anything. Then don't replay, because if you're saying that that's the problem.
I would be okay with that.
If you're saying that's, I'd rather do that too. I'd rather go with human error and the subjectivity of the ref. I'd rather much have that than going back and reviewing everything. Because the 2-minute report keeps showing all these different things. I mean, it's kind of disgraceful for the league.
Jalen, final thought.
Jay, the NBA is already satisfying what you want. They're doing it the last 2 minutes. They replay what happens, calls or non-calls, basically, to try to get them right the last 2 minutes of the game. We don't need to have this happening the first 46 minutes of the game. And lastly, the difference between the NFL and the NBA is at the end of each NFL play, it stops and they go to a huddle. In basketball, the play continues. So therefore, all of a sudden, you're going to go back and review a play that a coach just challenged. It's going to affect the integrity of the game, and it's going to interrupt the flow and the pace.
It's a good point. Yes, the mechanics of it would be different. I don't know exactly how they're going to do it in the G League. We can probably look into that. I would also say yesterday, I was pretty tough on the officiating from the first 2 games of the series. I totally stand behind what I said in Game 1. I thought that the officiating was bad, and I thought it did have an impact on the outcome of the game. In Game 2, it most certainly did not. And the reason I bring that up is because I think so rarely in this sport does the officiating decide the outcome of a game that it's not worth going to the lengths that we're talking about. In football, that one call sometimes goes so far towards deciding it. The notion that block charge thing, that happens like once in a generation. So I think that while I am usually totally in favor of all replay, in this particular case, I think I would be against.
How about I'm in total favor of no replays at all. Just let the
refs
refs call it.
Or just in basketball?
In basketball, if we're saying the game is that fast, let the refs call it as they see it.
Well, I mean, that's the way they did it for the majority of the history of the sport, and it seems to work out okay. It's something to think about one way or the other.